All right, once we have our database set up with our username and password, we're at the final step of the manual setup for WordPress. So the last thing we need to do is edit the values inside of the configuration file. So you'll need to select this wp-config sample. You'll need to rename it so that it's just wp-config. WordPress requires this file to be named like this. Once you've renamed it, you'll go ahead and edit that file. So I'm just going to double click it to edit it. Now, if you're uploading to your host, you'll need to make sure that you edit the file and then re-upload those files to your web host. And then this kind of tells you the basic information that needs to go in here. So you'll need to provide the database name, and this is the name of the database that you set up in the cPanel step. Now mine is just simply called sample, but yours may be your username underscore whatever you named the database. So make sure you name that correct. And then your username, I just have a local username called root. Mine actually doesn't have a password, but yours must have a password. So make sure you put in your password there. For the host, it's typically localhost, unless your web host tells you otherwise, it's localhost. And on student web hosting, that's the default value there. And those are the information to access the database. And then you'll want to go ahead and put in unique phrase here for each one of these strings. So you can just put in a unique phrase. You can actually even type in a whole bunch of characters like this. It doesn't really matter as long as they're all unique phrases. All of these things help with the security of your websites to help prevent common security errors. So go ahead and fill out all these unique and then save that file, re-upload that wp-config file to your web browser, and then we're ready for the final step, which is to just run the installation script. So once you've fixed the values inside of wp-config, you'll navigate to your website. So I'm going to open up my web browser, and I just have a sample one set up on samplewebsite.com, and you'll get a notice here that says welcome to WordPress. And this notice looks a lot like the one that we saw inside of the Softaculous package, where we provide a site name, a username and password, email, and things like that. If you get an error at this point, it might be that you did not have a successful connection to the database. So you need to make sure those database values are correct inside of your wp-config file. So I'm just going to set up a sample site here with a name. So I'm just going to say my website, and my username I'm just going to select as Andrew. And my password, I'm just going to do Andrew as well to make it simple. You, of course, don't want to do something simple like this. And email, I'm just going to say andrew@studentwebhosting.com. And yes, I do want to allow search engines to navigate to my site. If you uncheck this, you'll prevent all search engines from visiting your website, so no one will be able to find you on Google or Yahoo or Bing. So you definitely want that checked. So go ahead and click the Install WordPress. And this just takes a second for WordPress to run the installation script. It tells me success. It's created the database. It's installed itself. And now I can select the login. And once I log into WordPress, I'll just double check this. I'll do my username as Andrew. My password is Andrew. Select login. And I'm going to say never for this website for this particular password. And sure enough, it logged me into WordPress, and here we are, ready to go. So in the next series of videos, we're going to be looking at each of the different sections inside of WordPress and how to set up your site. But those last few videos are the process for manually installing WordPress.